In our case, we talk about always trying to do the best work of our careers, the best work of our lives, each and every time. It is literally the reason to do it again, especially if you've already seen success, with, like I said, which you're fortunate to have. Otherwise, you do get complacent. It's why, Black Ops 2 is different. It's clearly Call of Duty, and there's clearly some of the DNA in our Black Ops franchise. Each of our games is creatively very different, and I think that's the other part of it. It's like you want to do the best work of your life. You can say that till you're blue in the face, but I think the way you do that with people who are accomplished is you challenge them. You give them truly creatively challenging assignments, then you push like you've never pushed before, and you have to create a trusting and a creative environment. If you're going to stand around and critique each other, people have to be able to trust that criticism is coming from a good place, that the reason why Dan's telling me something's not good enough is because he wants the best for the game. And not only that Dan's going to stay and help me, get to that next place. And I think that's certainly the culture that we try to foster inside of Treyarch is stop looking to the outside for any kind of validation. Set your own benchmarks. You're going to do something great. And when you do something great, the rest of the world will hopefully take care of itself. And that's not to say that we don't listen to our fans, because there's a whole part of our game that literally exists because of our fans that we can talk about. But let's talk about it. Okay, well, let's talk about it. We make a very social game. The multiplayer game is incredibly social, and our fans love it. But one part of the game that literally only exists because of our fans is our zombies.
Yeah.
It was a passion project inside the studio that totally should never have, in any sort of I probably shouldn't even be here as a studio head, because I let this thing happen at a time when the development was strained and the team was, in a difficult place trying to release a historically authentic cinematic World War II game. And then you hear, have you heard they threw a zombie in there? It's a Nazi zombie, right? Everyone likes to kill Nazi zombies. So, it's a fun new game co-op mode. And I'm like, whoa. This hasn't been greenlit. What's going on? You got to try.
Did you just sort of start moonlighting on zombies? And you were just like, you know what? I have this idea, and I'm just basically going to beg forgiveness. Is that where that came from?
I mean, the studio itself. I mean, it was, as Mark was saying, it kind of comes from the guys having a passion to create it and just kind of toying things around and playing with stuff, and then putting it in front of Mark and kind of showing it and saying, okay, the temperature was good. Okay, it's all good. Yeah. And then I think Mark then went on a process of introducing it to our publisher, bit by bit.
We actually learned a really valuable lesson about how to internally market features that were controversial through that process. Because, that was our first co-op experience as a team, making a game that was cooperative. And we were it was a thing that evolved over time as we were making the campaign game for co-op. We just learned and discovered that, hey, the most fun experiences are when you're defending, and you're defending together, and you're playing these kind of defense missions.
Yeah.
And that just was we should just make a mode that is just about defending and having waves of attackers. And that was where it kind of started. And then the zombie portion came in because one of our missions was based on the Peleliu Island, where a bunch of airstrikes had come in. So we went to mocap, and we motion captured all of these walking wounded soldiers. So they're all kind of hobbling around and injured. And one of our lead scripters at the time on the campaign, he started to plug that in and say, it's a little bit more fun when there's zombies in there, when they're soldiers.
Yeah.
And he started to, add some layers to the mechanic, put some, started to put the windows that you could repair and the wall buys.
Yeah.
And as we started to build this game out,
all different departments start climbing in. After they're crunched at night, the sound team starts putting in, the animation team starts putting in. It was total grassroots.
It just people started playing it on the team, and it just started kind of
in the middle of the night.
More people got.
They should have been going home to get sleep. They had me play it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to figure." Now I've got the problem of figuring out how to support the team to get it done.
Yeah.
So I just did the exact same thing. I literally, I wouldn't give it too much of a preamble. I just sit down with people and have them play with me. And isn't this fun? And just get them actually emotionally invested in what it was. But that only goes so far in business, because this is as I talked to you about the origins of this thing, this is a authentic, cinematic experience inside of a historical setting. In this case, and World at War was a very intense, brutal, serious, World War II game.
Yeah.
And there's some people who are like, you're not sticking zombies in Call of Duty. I mean, what are you talking about? Have you lost your mind, man?
Yeah.
The thing about it was, we made this deal with Activision, who owns Treyarch and is our publisher, that it wouldn't get marketed. We wouldn't market this. It's okay. Let us release it as an Easter egg. After everyone's already experienced the artfully crafted, beautiful Call of Duty game that we've been working on for years. Let them experience that game after the credits roll. We'll have this little surprise at the end. It's a lot of fun. I think people will enjoy it.
Yeah.
So they let us do that. And I think that very decision to actually not, and it's a very un-Call of Duty-like thing in this world to do, if you think about it, not promote it, not market it at all. The people who found it, who'd already got what they bargained for, they played their game, and they took it, they owned it, and that very same internet blew it up for us.
Yeah.
They took it, they got to own it.
The fans of your game getting so excited about that it blows up, it becomes its own thing. Their support, their passion leads to...
It becomes a main part of what a Treyarch Call of Duty game, what a Treyarch Black Ops game is.
Yeah.
It takes center stage as part of what Black Ops, when we shipped Black Ops, it had an epic campaign, it had an awesome multiplayer, and it had a zombies that came with it and just became part of what we make when we make our Call of Duty games.
Yeah.
Like it's a legitimate
its own
pillar on the disc, and it kind of, from those humble kind of beginnings, in terms of what's fun, what's engaging, to the point now where it's getting allocations and it's getting resources in the studio, so we're developing it, which are just as long and just as weighty as other things. And you have to, with DLC and digital content and stuff and so forth, consider it like a campaign, consider it like a full story.
It has a 7-year story arc for its characters that we've been going on with this journey that will...
And I think that's I think that's something that you'll actually be interested in hearing, is that the story for zombies didn't always exist. There was not this comprehensive and forethought put into what this story was going to be from start to finish.
Yeah.
We had very little fiction around it. I mean, it was the very first iteration of zombies was literally hobbled together from things that we found from other parts of the game.
They were mute characters, right?
Yeah.
They didn't speak.
Yeah.
They didn't have any personality in that sense, right?
But the community started to pick up on little hints of things in the game, and there were some intentional Easter eggs that were put around, but there were also some ones that we didn't actually place that the fans started to have these conspiracy theories around. Just what does that mean? And they would fight with one another about what things meant.
There was one example which was a texture that was warped. Just warped at the corner, right? And they found it, they came in on it, and it was like finding a deity on your toast, It was like, oh wow, they're like, they're saying something here, that's like a demon or something, and that's because he's meddling in other powers, and it was just that we warped the texture. But we saw that kind of interest going, and it was like, we should actually do more of this stuff, deliberately,
We asked our PlayStation Nation if there were things that they wanted to know specifically, and I think it would suck out loud if I didn't get to one of the questions that we selected from our PlayStation readers.